Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside the ballpark. My name is NovedPlayer, and welcome to Season 2 of the podcast, Episode 53. I'm so glad that we are finally on to Season 2. With me today, I have a world creator as well as a community leader of the Team Fortress 2 Avatar PvP. We have Yukio Okumura.
Hello.
Welcome on. Hope you're doing well.
Yeah, I'm doing all right.
Awesome. So, I guess for the general listening audience, what exactly do you do inside of VRChat?
I'm primarily a world creator. I also help run a few communities. I also help out quite a few communities. I also do some Avatar PvP stuff. As you know, you had Core earlier. I dabble in that too, but I bring the wacky physics of Team Fortress 2 to VRChat.
Hell yeah. And obviously Team Fortress 2 being one of probably the oldest games when it comes to like Valve. Definitely some crazy physics to say the least.
Oh yeah, trust me, trying to get Soldier's rocket to function properly, I've had to put Unity on pause a few times.
I get you. Well, that's awesome. So I guess one of the first questions I wanted to ask in that regard, so what got you into like VR chat in the first place?
Um, VR chat itself. Now, mind you, this is coming from an old man in this community. I first watched a guy named Nags21 back in 2017. He was doing a whole bunch of funny YouTube series, and that kind of got me to get into it. And I hopped in, used the basic default avatar for a good solid, 3 months, and then I met a bunch of people who I'm still friends with to this day, and they helped me get an avatar and work my way through VRChat.
Hell yeah. No, that's what's up. So I guess kind of in that regard, because you've been on the platform for so long, I would say one of the questions I wanted to ask, because you've been around for so long, what's like one of the moments from back when you first started that always resonates with you, like always has a place in your heart?
Um, this might sound weird, but when I joined my first ever community, I ended up joining up with them. It was really fun. It was amazing. You may know them, the LPD. I actually was a member way back then when it was under Sarma. I met so many friends. A lot of them, showed this rookie how to get through VRChat. And it was just, I've had so many friends that just taught me so much. And I wouldn't be where I am today without them.
No, fair enough. Yeah, I'd say LPD being, one of the oldest groups when it comes to like, police role play and metaverse role play. Well, that's really cool. So I guess what got you started into like world development and world creation?
Me and my small little friend group, we didn't really have very many places to go. Now, mind you, back in this time, we had like 10 places to go. You could either go to the Void Club, or you could go to the Great Pug, or that was it. There was also the significant location that, believe it or not, VRChat uses to this day as their logo. It was I can't remember the name of the map off the top of my head, but it was a tree house that you could change the skybox completely. And that kind of like surprised me. And wanting to learn the intricacies of it and being an avid gamer outside of VRChat, I always looked at the mechanical and technical details when it came to like how a world is made and all this other stuff. I fall under the class of level designer or environmental artist. I don't do any of the programming. I'll take pre-made assets and things like that, and then rip them all apart and put them back together in a new amalgamation.
Fair enough. Well, that's pretty cool. I would say, because obviously there's a lot when it comes to like world creation and world development. So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask, so when you first started making worlds, what was like one of the biggest struggles that you had like starting off as a world creator?
um, the Unity game engine. Believe it or not, the Unity game engine back when VRChat first started out, um, was very buggy. A lot of times, Unity would crash. It wouldn't save your progress. And also, there wasn't very many assets made for that specific version of Unity that they used. So a lot of times, a lot of us early level developers or world creators on VRChat basically used what we now know as Miku dance stages. And that's also what started a lot of the avatar trends and things like that was with Miku dance or TDA models. So using those plus game rips, a lot of times we had to use VRChat's basic trigger system where it was you grab a white cube, you slapped it in your scene and said, bingo bango, I'm going to have this do something, be it teleport or be a pick upable object. So going around and having to pretty much go around a Unity program with duct tape and Gorilla Glue, you could pop out some pretty cool things.
No, absolutely. It's definitely changed a lot over the years. So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask in that regard, because obviously from back then till now, we've gone through different Unity changes, different SDKs, the Creator Companion. Would you say, looking back from back then till now, would you say it's more easier as time went on, or would you say it's been more complex as time has gone on?
Honestly, when it comes to Udon and what VRChat implemented as their coding system, mind you, I did do a little bit of the Udon graph. A lot of world creators who know that will say, "Oh, that's cringe." Just basically using a crap ton of nodes to make the program do what you want. I prefer it the old ways. In all fairness, SDK 3 was great and amazing. It brought a lot of very high, intricate pieces, but Udon kind of made it a little more difficult, especially with me. I have a learning disability, so I don't know how to type up code or anything like that. So I rely on a lot of prefabs like teleporter prefabs like from Hash Studios or like some interactable objects from Vogan. I use his climbing prefab quite often when it comes to, making some maps and a whole bunch of other things. So level designing, Unity is now more optimized because of how they updated their SDK, but ultimately Udon has been a lot more difficult to understand.
I get that. And as somebody who also doesn't do Udon by any means, I completely 1000% understand that logic. Um yeah, it's not an easy thing to learn, to say the least. Um
Oh, no.
Oh man. So I guess kind of like, to go down to the timeline a little bit when it came to like the worlds and stuff. So, obviously you've built some atmospheric maps, you've built some, maps for or worlds for like, Avatar PvP, as well as a few communities as well. So, what kind of was the beginning going into like the most recent creation?
So my most recent creation, I'm a massive horror fan. So making atmospheric maps and things like that is more my forte. Um, but the most recent one that I'm currently working on, I want to give that sense of, this place was lived in, but the people who lived in it just up and disappeared one day due to unknown causes. So a lot of like eerie, creepy feels to try to make you feel like something's watching you from the distance, and a whole bunch of other things is just my passion. I am working on my own little mini game or miniature game inside of VRChat, where it uses some new things that VRChat put in. But right now, that itself is kind of on a slow incline with a lot of things because, VRChat has their world editing boundaries of where you can go. So trying to make it where, 1, it's not laggy, 2, it doesn't crash anybody, and 3, more enjoyable for the people that enjoy it, like, say, if you wanted to go and visit it, is very difficult. So trying to combine that atmosphere while also making it easier for people to go and enjoy the map, it's difficult. So I'm currently writing some level atmospheric story to try and make it a little more interesting.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, that's really cool that you're kind of like progressively, increasing in skill when it comes to that. Because obviously, with every world, there's always something new, whether it's a new Unity update or, more interactivity when it comes to the actual map, more storytelling. Well, that's really cool. I'm kind of glad to hear that, you've kind of worked on that since. So I guess one of the things, so what are some of the communities that you've made worlds for?
Let's see here. I've made worlds for, believe it or not, the LPD. When they were refounded, I made the LPD Square. That is a very, very, very old map. I have made the school world for Phoenix Academy. They have been using a lovely, lovely designed college classroom. And then I'm going to help them later on down the line when they get all their stuff settled to make a better looking map that they want. I've also made maps for the Ultramarines and the Avatar PvP community, as you know, with Nematon, the Ruin of Man, as the map is called. And then I've also made some worlds for role plays. One of them is Black Wolves Rebellion. I have made a few maps for them so that they could have their little atmospheric role play. I've also made maps for a group called POG, P.O.G, or Paranormal Operations Group, and they're more of a milsim style RP. I made their pooling grounds, as well as I'm also working on some fully functioning Blackhawks for them to fly around on their maps to make the mission feel a little more immersive.
That's what's up.
And obviously my TF2 stuff.
Right. Well, no, that's cool. Like having actual Blackhawks and stuff. That'd be sick. Oh gosh, I can already feel the shaking of the plane.
It has full realism when it comes to it. You can fit up to 12 people in the back, plus a co-pilot and a pilot, and it uses Sachs flight prefab.
Oh, I gotcha. Well, that's really cool. So obviously we've talked about it a little bit. So what exactly is involved with the whole like TF2 PvP community?
So I'm a massive fan of TF2. I'm a medic main through and through. So I wanted to bring everything that TF2 has and bring it into a more wider audience, because not very many people either have a PC or they just never heard of TF2 because they play like Overwatch or Marvel Rivals and things like that. So I wanted to bring the fun, wacky craziness of TF2 to VRChat. I'm working on a bunch of maps. I have a bunch of models that are semi-functioning for Avatar PvP. I have a functioning heavy soldier, semi-functioning medic. I haven't done engineer or spy yet because I feel like they would be the more difficult ones to do. As well as I have a functioning heavy and pyro. Pyro's, knockback blast doesn't work yet, but eventually it will. And then I wanted to like integrate the hat trading system where people could earn hats throughout their time within the community and a whole bunch of other things, and they could decorate all of their characters the way they want. The way I have put it is whatever I've made in Unity, I will put the Unity package in the Discord server so people can easily just drag and drop it onto their model if they wanted to make a custom like heavy or soldier or scout or whatever, and let them be whoever. One of my biggest things is all inclusiveness. So if you wanted to make yourself like, say, you wanted to put your head on a scout body, go for it. Have fun. As long as you are using the weapons for that class and also you are feeling like you're having fun, I don't care. Do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what's up. No, that I didn't even know about that whole bit. So that's really cool. It's cool that you give, the community people a way to essentially express themselves through, your models and stuff, and allows them to fully customize it and, whatever the case may be. Because most avatars, they'll have like the little dial systems on their expression menu and do like whole color systems. But you go the full 9 yards, like, here, take this. Have fun.
Yeah. Valve is open source, so whatever they do with it is on them, as long as they follow the custom model rules and guidelines.
Hell yeah. No, that's what's up. So I guess kind of one of the questions in that regard then, because obviously TF2 is very expansive when it comes to the memery and the, constant shitpost. So I guess one of the questions I wanted to ask in that regard, what is like the funniest moment that your guys' community like has done when it comes to like, maybe events or just overall in general?
I rocket jumped Flying Flapjack, the leader of the Blood Ravens, as soldier. I trollgered Flapjack. It was probably the funniest thing on the planet. Not only that, with us going against other communities, it's the funny thing of like, oh, we're going against Space Marines as wacky cartoon characters with wacky physics. Granted, not a lot of people like the aspect of wacky physics in a ground-based kind of like combat way, but at the same time, the way I defend it is, well, it's TF2. It's all about wacky fun, the movement, the weapons play, and everything.
Oh no, absolutely. Yeah, that's funny. If there's some type of clip out there of you doing the rocket jump over Flapjack, I would love to see that because that'd be funny.
Yeah.
But no, well, that's what's up. And obviously you've been doing the whole TF2 thing for a while, and you're kind of more focused on world making now. So I guess kind of one of the questions in that regard, what essentially made you feel to push towards world development over like community side?
That is a very difficult question to answer. Yes, I love the community. I have all these ideas that I could do with it. But in the end, when you're a lone person trying to work on absolutely everything yourself, it gets fairly difficult. There have been many a times that I have sat down and contemplated a lot. And TF2 isn't actually my first ever community that I ran. I ran another community 4.5 years long before the TF2 stuff. And it's just the aspect of all the different like cultures and everything is just difficult to grasp, and having that sense and pressure on your shoulders that like if you screw up once, then you're never going to hear the end of it, or you're just going to lose people because they're here for a certain style of things like TF2, which they're very cartoon based. All the maps are very wacky, but I like realism. I always love the aspect of let me make something really realistic and push the boundaries of VRChat than just making cartoon things. There's a lot of people that I look up to that I wish I knew half of the stuff they knew. uh, like the person who created laser tag. I wish I knew how to do proper world weapon systems. There's Huggy's Dungeon. I love the storytelling. I've always wanted to do that. I tried called the Alexander Chronicles, but it died very early in development because I didn't know half of the things that all these people do. And when it comes to working on it, just pushing myself more on the world development side, I feel that I would be able to provide better content for the community and also show to myself that I'm able to do this.
No, that's what's up. And that's pretty valid. You know, doing a lot of things, you know, by oneself it's very taxing, to say the least. So kind of to go into that maybe a little bit, you know, because obviously when it comes to, you know, doing everything by oneself, it does tend to lead to, like, you know, to burnout and, you know, stuff like that. What is one of the ways that you've combated burnout?
One of the bigger ways that I've combated burnout. One way I've done it was I listen to music. Music has always been my inspiration for things. Another thing that I've done is I would sit down and play one of my favorite video games, and that would have been BioShock or BioShock 2. Just exploring more into Rapture and understanding, you know, what the developers who made this game felt. And not only that, I also try to put myself in the shoes of all the different game developers that of the games I play. And understanding that, yes, I'm dealing with burnout, but at the same time, it's not as bad as them. I don't get paid for any of this work that I'm doing, so I could go slow on it. I don't need to stress out about it. I don't have deadlines. But these people, they get paid, they make amazing art, they bring in a lot of storytelling, but they get burnt out massively. And it's because they're getting pushed for deadlines. And so I have to remember, I don't have deadlines, so it's not as bad as they do. They have it way harder than I do. Another thing is I explore some of the maps on VRChat. And then when I look at all the massive content this community has created, I don't have it as bad as they do. All these popular world developers and game creators within VRChat, they have a lot more stress on their shoulders than I do. I'm just a lowly guy. I'm small on this totem pole of all these people. But everybody else expects them to be the next big and great thing. So I give all of my props to all of them. They all have the ability to withstand all this stress while I'm burning out over the smallest of things.
Oh, fair enough. And yeah, obviously it's a different mindset, like you were kind of saying, you know, with the whole deadlines thing and, you know, all that, because it's stress. It's 1000%
Yeah.
stress, you know, and it's crazy to think about what, you know, these AAA company game devs are doing on a yearly basis. You know, granted they're getting paid, unlike us, but at the same time, you know, it's because they're being pushed. It's because they're, you know, they have to make the next big thing essentially, which is, God, almost impossible if you really think about it. You know, we live in a world where imagination is infinite. You know, especially now, like with VR, you know, in VRChat, like you can practically do anything in VR. You know, you can do futuristic sci-fi battles to, you know, go to a beach. You know, if you've never been to a beach before, you live in a city area or, you know, country area, you can essentially explore the world without leaving, you know, the comfort of your own home or experience nothing that has been experienced before in real life. It's definitely a crazy thing, to say the least.
Yeah. One of the bigger things is, you know, with me being so old, I have seen every evolution that VRChat has to hold, from, again, the TDA stuff and the game rip stuff towards, you know, where the club scene started and it, began. Granted, a lot of these clubs are very high, high maintenancely made. They make them look really nice and stuff like that. So you really don't, as you said, leave your own home. You can just go out and socialize. Especially with all these conventions and stuff, they make custom worlds for them and everything, which is amazing. But ultimately, it just comes down to the fact of like, yeah, you can do a lot in VR, but it takes the right kind of person to be able to make those experiences.
No, absolutely. And you kind of mentioned the whole convention thing. It takes a team to do that. It is damn near impossible for one person to bear all of that on one's shoulders. And that goes with any of the conventions that are on VR, whether it's Project Community, Virality, VCat, CozyCon. It's crazy what people can do as a collaborative unit. And that's one of the things. Again, it takes a team to do amazing things. That's not to say that like individuals can't do amazing things. We've seen that proven wrong time and time again, especially with VRChat. But it's really cool when people from across the world can come together and make something that has never been done before on a VR platform. Whether it's conventions or worlds or experiences or films. There's so many VRChat films now compared to like when this platform first started. The words are hard. English is hard.
I feel it.
But no, I mean it's crazy to think about at the end of the day. And kind of to go like kind of back into the topic a little bit. So obviously you did recently make a group to kind of showcase like all your worlds and stuff. So what made you like actually want to create the group and like kind of go into like maybe a community side of things?
Ultimately, like I just wanted a place to show all my work, a place where I could just show off what I have, and then if people like it, they like it. And being specifically a PC only world creator, it's difficult to get out there because VRChat tries to promote PC and Quest worlds. So people who are able to make the Quest worlds and make all their worlds that can be Quest compatible, it's very easy for all their content to get out there. But me, I only do PC only. So I made a community of all of my worlds so that people can come and visit my worlds and find all that content that is PC only that they would want to see that doesn't get shown on, the front for you page of VRChat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and definitely agree with you on the PC side of things versus the cross-platform things. Hello, everyone. Real quick, just want to pause the episode right here. I want to thank you all so much for the amazing support when it comes to the Noved Squad and the Noved Notes podcast. We are now officially in the creator economy, which you can kind of see right behind me. You can now officially tip the podcast, or if you're interested to do monthly subscriptions with more benefits and perks for the world and upcoming projects, feel free to check it out at the group page, Noved.6608 for the group page. Of course, if you're enjoying what you're watching, feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. But let's get back into the episode. Woo! But I'll say, I mean, technically you have made some worlds that are cross-platform. Like obviously the Phoenix Academy, V1, the USA VRC Classroom, as well as some of those worlds as well.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of one of the things, because you're solely more focused on PC building, what is one of the struggles for you personally when it comes to like Quest building, and building worlds for Quest?
The restrictions. That will always be my number one thing that I will always say. The restrictions. Quest compatible worlds are required to be under 100 megabytes, as well as you are required to use their VRChat mobile shaders. Even avatars are quite difficult to understand. But on the world aspect, you can't have all these different things. They have to be using their shaders specifically. You have to be under 100 megabytes. And it's just difficult, especially with me who puts in a lot of detail for the maps. I have to shove all that back. So all of those worlds that you listed off are primarily small, compact worlds that have very little detail to them. I try to make the textures look detailed so that they can look good, but ultimately trying to make that functionality it's very difficult to get around the restrictions.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah, because I mean, any world creator can vouch that the restrictions are a little bit on the rough side. And hopefully, who knows, maybe down the line, as time goes on, because obviously they don't support like the Rift anymore, unfortunately. But like Quest 2 is kind of their
Yeah.
main bottom line headset when it comes to VRChat. But with now, the Quest 2 being deprecated by Meta, now Quest 3 being that bottom baseline, hopefully within the next couple of years or so, because that Quest 3 does have a better chipset, maybe it might increase a little bit,
Yeah.
possibly, not knock on wood, VRChat.
Yeah, no, trust me. There have been plenty of times that I have, when they first released SDK 3.0, I was one of the many people that said, "Hey, can we keep some of these specific features from the SDK 2 into SDK 3?" Mind you, all of them never really happened, but a great, lovely creator called Cyan Trigger kind of stepped up to the plate and provided SDK2 toggles and event systems for world creators who are used to the SDK2 style of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, big shout out to all the prefab and coding creators that can make that
Yeah.
type of stuff happen. Like I know you mentioned Hash Studios earlier, but yeah, Hash Studios, Cyan Trigger, like there's quite a few. There's probably a whole list out there somewhere. You go find it somewhere, but there's a lot of great coding creators and asset and prefab creators that help these older world creators make things work.
Yeah.
So I guess kind of, one of the things I wanted to talk about, because you kind of mentioned a few of them earlier, with some of your worlds, but like, what are some of like the assets that you use, for like your worlds, and like what makes them so important for your worlds?
So this is where I kind of be like, my wallet says, "Ow." I have over $5,000 in world assets alone. Um, from the Unity Asset Store. Uh, a lot of that, plus Poyomi, Mochi, those, start adding up. And then you start going into like, I use CG Trader. If I want to find some very other specific items, I'll go to Sketchfab, or I'll go to Booth or Gumroad, or a whole bunch of these other like online stores. But primarily for all of my assets, I get them from the Unity Asset Store itself, because you could just go in and say, "This is my Unity version. This is what I want. I want 3D objects or environments for that specific Unity," and then it'll give you a whole list of absolutely everything that is within that Unity that you can use.
Good old Unity Asset Store. Not sponsored,
You're
but
telling me. Nope.
never in a million years, probably. But no, that's what's up. And obviously, there's so many different things out there. Like you mentioned Sketchfab, and obviously the big one being Unity Asset Store. So I guess what kind of brought you into the direction of those? Like obviously there's a lot of places to get things, when it comes to like prefabs and, assets and stuff. So like what, in your opinion, kind of to go into each one a little bit, where if you're looking for specific things, which one do you go to personally?
It depends. Because each platform has their own varying objects that are on them. If I want something for a prefab that I could just drag and drop into the world, like a climbing system or a game or an arcade machine or something, I'll go to either Booth or Gumroad. Primarily, I'll go to Booth for like console games and things like that for in the world for decoration. If I want to go to get like audio link things or something like that, I'll go over to Gumroad. That's where you'll find a lot of audio link stuff. Now, if I want environmental things, I'll go specifically straight to the Unity Asset Store. There is no way, shape, or form you can't find something that you like that's either free or, as they sometimes have it, $500. You just can't use any of the custom scripts. But one of the primary reasons why I try to go towards the Unity Asset Store is, well, I want to be a game developer. I want to be able to create indie developable games of horror games, atmospheric storytellings and things like that. So I rather build up my portfolio of all these assets that I have so that when I am ready to take that next extra step, at least I'm prepared.
No, I gotcha. Yeah, definitely good to have more preparedness on that front. um
Yeah.
So I guess kind of, one of the questions I wanted to ask, because you've been making worlds for so long and there's a lot of worlds out there that you've made and published. Um, do you have like a particular world creator? I know you kind of mentioned a few earlier, like in regards to certain aspects, but do you have like, I guess, an inspiration when it comes to like world creating in general?
Um, no, I kind of just whatever I think up in my head. I'm just like, okay, you know what? Screw it. I'll go for it. I'll throw down. Put it to paper and see what happens. A lot of my stuff is not like I don't write down like, hey, I think this would be kind of cool. This kind of be cool, whatever. Um, it's just whatever happens in my brain, and then if I feel like, hey, I really like this, then I'll go for it. Like the more current world that I'm working on, the code name for the world is Dark Asian World. It's not any kind of reference to anything like bad or anything. It's just that I'm trying to build a place that is kind of in the sense of back in the days of Journey to the West, the story of Sun Wukong. And so I figured, what if I take that story and I make a town where it's completely abandoned, desolated into the fog, with a sense of like Chinese and Japanese mythology, and it's like Onis have taken over the place, or that the people were so scared in this village that everybody just up and left. They just left everything and they just vanished. And so the player will eventually learn through some journal entries and some audio logs that, believe it or not, they're not the first people to explore this. There was a journey team before them that found this place up in the mountains, and all their audio logs will lead the player towards the ultimate conclusion, which I'm not gonna spoil. But ultimately, it's their sense of exploration and discovery, where the reason why I make them so big is because I want you to explore every nook and cranny. You never know. You might see an Easter egg in there, a few times of different things.
I gotcha. No, that's really cool that, it definitely seems like it's well thought out in that regard, when it comes to like what you're going for with each world. Well, that's what's up, man. No, that's really cool. I guess kind of to, go into a bunch of the different worlds that you made. So I guess in your personal opinion, is there a world that you've made that holds like a dear place in your heart, like overall, like at least in your opinion?
Um, yeah. Anything that's the USA VRC stuff. A lot of that, as I stated before, TF2 wasn't my first ever community. I ran a Milsim roleplay community called the U.S. Army of VRChat, and I ran that strong for 4.5 years, and we had over 1,000 members strong, which was really cool. And even then, I was still the only developer. But all those maps have memories that I had with be it members, friends, loved ones, or whatever, and they mean a lot to me. My very first ever memory world also holds a very dear place in my heart. Um, it was during the beginning of my world development, but it was a tribute to all of my old friends. A lot of them that are in the photos in that world, they don't play VRChat anymore. Not only that, I lost the files to that world, so I can never update it. So it's technically stuck in a purgatory. I would have loved to update it and be able to, make it look better and, truly show off how those friends meant to me. But due to me being on a laptop at that time and the hard drive cutting out on me, I lost all the files for it. So I try to hold every world I ever create very close to me and share those memories when I can, if that makes sense. So there's, I have well over uploaded 141 worlds to date. But a lot of those early worlds, I have a lot of memories on from the role plays I participated in, the communities and friendships I've made, and to then go back on them and be like, man, I wonder what these people are up to today. Or I wonder how they would have been if they saw my skill that I have now. Would they be more happy to be a part of this? And things like that.
No, for sure. Um, I'm sorry to hear that you lost the files for that one. That's always a very unfortunate thing, especially with laptops. As somebody who was
Yeah.
also a laptop creator for the longest time, I felt that. Felt that for quite a long time.
Yeah.
but anyways, kind of to move forward a little bit, because obviously you're still making worlds to this day, as you kind of explained with the newest one. So what are some things that like we can look forward to in the future when it comes to Yukio's World Works?
Expect a lot more environmental worlds. I will always be, hopefully, getting back up to even streaming my creation of the worlds, which I used to do, believe it or not. I used to stream on Twitch, creating the worlds. So, but just trying to pump out nice, lovely worlds that people in PC, they don't want to go and experience the same stuff every day because either they don't want to go and deal with, bad things happening in like a black cat or the great pug always crashing you or something like that. At least they could go somewhere else and explore something new and maybe find and make memories like I did back when I first started VRChat.
No, fair enough. And it always helps to have variety when it comes to environmental worlds. Because obviously we've had a few world creators come on the podcast for season one. It's always a different mindset within each creator that, what drives them, what inspires them to, make worlds. Like, you said the Black Cat, but we literally just had Spooky Ghost Boo on the podcast the last episode of season one. But see, the thing is she embraces that chaos, when it comes to the Black Cat. Like, that's a part of who she
Oh,
is.
yeah.
And you have like, you have your more visually, impaired world creator, not impaired, that's fucked up. Visually stunning world creators is the word I was trying to look for. Like we've had Showpow on the podcast. We've had many different people come through. We've had Game World devs, all sorts of stuff, but each single one of them has their own mindset. Which at the end of the day, it just goes to show that we as VRChat players, once again, as we kind of talked about earlier, the imaginative sphere of VRChat is infinite because, one person can make this world, world A, one can make world B. Now, if you have those creators work together, it can make a whole brand new experience. It's like the whole,
Yeah.
it's the whole Ratatouille, if you ever watched Ratatouille, growing up, it's the whole Ratatouille scene of Remy, taking a bite of the cheese, taking a bite of the strawberry. It's just different music going on.
It just all mixes up. Yeah.
It's literally, that's the most childish way of thinking about it, but it's honestly the truth, though.
It's logical.
I never used that on a podcast episode, but that's been a mindset of mine for a while. It's literally just that scene. I can't put it on screen because Disney will kill the absolute shit out of my podcast, but you get the point.
Oh yeah.
It's definitely a crazy thing when it comes to that, and it all comes full circle at the end of the day, because that's one of the reasons, at least in my opinion, why VRChat is so popular, and is constantly getting, thousands upon thousands of new players each year. We've breaking milestones every year when it comes to the concurrent player base, and it's crazy to think about. Obviously, with you being an older player, which I guess we never really officially, when did you start officially playing VRChat?
I have officially started playing VRChat back in November 4th, 2017.
Fair enough. the original
first
part of the
traces of my existence. Yeah, trust me, man. I was there when the what was it? Do you know the way? First started, and how all that happened, and everything, and it was great chaos. It was very lovely chaos. But no, my first ever traces of uploading anything to the platform would be 1 year later that year. November 4th, 2018 is when I uploaded my first world and avatar to VRChat.
Fair enough. So so out of curiosity, what was the first world? Because we talked about the most recent one. What was the first world you've ever uploaded?
God, you're making me really needing to go back into my list then. Holy moly. So, believe it or not, as corny as it says, my first ever world was Yukio's MMD Club. Back in the day, before you could actually go on, MMD Worlds now, where you could use your actual avatar, you would go and grab pre-rendered models that are already made, like Miku Dance models or TDA models, and just slap them into Unity, slap an animational dance on it, and throw a trigger on there, and throw the audio onto the avatar and call it a day. That was literally it. But ultimately, I wanted to make my own club scene, quote unquote. But it was a place where you could just gather around, talk, have fun. But that ultimately ended up burning down after VRChat started uploading things. And then I made another map, and another map, and another map, and another map. And then I ended up taking at least a 2-year break, somewhere around there. And then I restarted getting back into map creation, and I started doing some more stuff, bashing my head against a brick wall. As go and ask every world developer and say, what is the number one thing you like to bash your head against? And they'll either tell you their keyboard, their monitor, or a wall. I guarantee it. You will get the same reply.
Fair. No, that's fair. I can see the reasons why.
Yeah. My friend gave me this lovely meme where it's literally a box with a target in the center that says, Unity crashes, hit head here, with an arrow pointing to the target, and I hang it up on my wall.
Could have picked anywhere, maybe something a little bit less, hurtful, and you picked the wall.
Nope. Wall.
Wall. Fair enough. Obviously we don't concern hurting yourselves over a Unity issue.
Oh God, no! Please don't.
Please, I'm gonna put a disclaimer right at the bottom of the screen here. Don't do that. But
we are trained professionals.
Well, I don't know about trained or professionals. I don't know if either one of those applies. But oh man, but it is absolutely crazy when it comes to everything. Because at the end of the day, one of my biggest beliefs when it comes to VRChat is we're all just a bunch of nerds that like to create things and have fun. And I know there's going to be people that disagree with that statement in the sense of like we're all nerds. You're on a VRChat. You're on a VR platform that's full of so many different wacky characters and stuff. You're a nerd. I'm a nerd too. It's fine. We're all nerds at the end of the day.
Nothing wrong with that.
You just go touch some grass every now and then. That's all you need to do.
And no, we're not talking about virtual grass.
No, we're talking about go. I just hit my mic. But go outside and go touch some asphalt, grass, sand, wherever you live. Go touch something that's not controllers. And your carpet doesn't count either.
Nope.
But in all seriousness, though, it is an amazing thing that we have here on VRChat. That we can do these amazing things and have fun doing it at the same time. I'll say we are actually running a little bit out of time. It did not feel like almost an hour, to be honest.
Yeah, I know, right?
I know you can't see my watch, but yeah, but I guess one of the last things I wanted to ask you in that regard, when it comes to world creation and stuff, because obviously we talked about like prefabs and everything. What for you personally, when it comes to your world creation, what is one thing, like if you were trying to give advice to any world creators out there, what is one piece of advice that you can give for maybe somebody who's wanting to start world creation?
That's actually fairly simple. Do what you love. Don't let anyone tell you what you can or can't do. I've had plenty of people in my time tell me, hey, that world's not going to work. That idea is so dumb and stupid. But ultimately, I didn't really care. I just did what I wanted to do. You are your own best critic. So don't worry about what other people think and what other people say. Just go ahead and do it. You never know. You might come across something that you really, really like to do.
No, I mean, wise words right there, to be honest. Like, just do what you love and just do it at the end of the day. It's crazy to think about how many people kind of follow that same mindset and how many amazing experiences we get because of it. But yeah, well, Yukio, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And kind of, telling me more about, all your stuff and everything you've kind of done over the years. It's really cool.
Yeah, I know. I'm an old man. I get it.
That's not what I meant. I came from that era too, a-hole.
Listen, man. Listen. It's okay. I see the gray hairs.
Okay. All right. Well, before we do end it off, I do want to give you a spot to kind of tell the people where they can find you, all the links that you want on screen in the description, all that stuff. But yeah, go ahead and take it away.
You can find me on VRChat. You can literally just type in Yukio Okumura, all lowercase with the space between Yukio and Okumura. And also you can find all my experiences out there. Band in Mine is one of my more popular ones that a lot of people like to do. And also just go ahead and keep an eye out for my group, Yukio WorldWorks. Just go have fun, enjoy your time on VRChat, and hey, I will always state this. make sure you give credit to a lot of smaller world creators out there. Yes, there are a lot of fishes in the sea of world creation, but trust me, just because there's a big popular creator doesn't mean you won't find something that a smaller creator has created that you'll enjoy.
Fair enough. Well, yeah, thank you once again so much for coming on and talking to my goofy self.
Glad to be here.
Yeah, of course. But with that, ladies, gentlemen, everybody inside and outside the ballpark, that has been it for the first episode of season 2, which is episode 53 of the Noved Notes podcast. I want to thank you all so much for listening, watching, enjoying the episode, coming this far. If you enjoyed what me and Yukio talked about, please feel free to hit that like button. Comment down below, what's your favorite Yukio Okumura world? If you haven't checked them out, go check them out and then come back to this comment section and then comment down below which one's your favorite. But of course, if you're already coming back to check out some of the other episodes, why not hit that subscribe button? You're already coming back anyway. But with that, I want to thank you all one last time for watching, listening, depending on which of the 9 platforms you're on. And I will see you in the next episode. Take care and peace. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Noved.